I'd like to call the meeting to order for the December 11th, what is it? The closed session meeting, sorry. There's a lot on here.
What's the regular meeting?
Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The record will reflect that Councilmember Muldoon is currently absent.
All right, now we'll have public comments on agenda and non-agenda items. Please come forward.
Mayor Duffield, members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier, and I have two comments. First comment is that since your last meeting, the results of a public election have become known, and at least to me, it would seem logical that the announcement of the result of the election and the impaneling of the newly elected members should come at the very beginning of the meeting rather than buried 11 items into it. So that is my opinion. Second comment I wanted to make is regarding the closed session. It appears that you've allotted 15 minutes each for evaluating the job performance of the city attorney and the city clerk. Seems like very little time, so I don't want to cut into that very little time, but I would like to make a comment I've made before. I assume the public does not know exactly what you do in these performance evaluations. I assume that they're based on some kind of goals that you've set for the employees, and whether they've attained them or not. I think it would be very useful for you to share what the goals are with the public so that the public could comment more intelligently than I can, and you would know whether the public is in tune with you as to whether the employees have met those goals or not. I think that would be very useful, and while I partially understand why you hold your deliberation in private, I do not understand why the goals that you've set for the employees are not a matter of public knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you. Any others? All right, seeing none, closed session, Mr. Harper?
Thank
Harper,
you.
Sorry.
The closed session, I'm sorry, the City Council will adjourn to closed session to discuss item 3A, which is the public employee performance evaluation of the city attorney and city clerk. The city attorney and city clerk will be accusing themselves from that portion of the performance evaluation. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're recessed to the 6:30 regular meeting. You take your seats, please. All right. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the December 11th regular meeting. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
The record will reflect that all members of council are present.
Mr. Harp, is there a closed session report?
Thank you, Mayor Duffield. There is no closed session report this evening.
All right, now we'll have our invocation by Councilmember Scott Peotter and our Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Jeff Herdman.
Everyone would bow with me. God, thank you for the opportunity to be in this country. Tonight we're celebrating the passing of the torch, so to speak, and how we here have free elections. And unlike the monarchies that our country was from and not part of, anybody can come up, and it's the people that basically rule our country. God, thank you that George Washington, even after his 2 terms of president, stepped down, even though some people wanted to make him king. And he set a precedent, Lord, on how we should react and how we should pass on leadership, and that we are truly led by the people. God, we thank you for this opportunity. We ask that you give this body wisdom. We ask that you would bless and give wisdom to the incoming council people as well. And we ask these things in your Son's name. Amen.
Would you please join me in recognizing and saluting the flag of the United States of America? Ready? Begin.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk.
The city provides a yellow sign-in card to assist in the preparation of the minutes. The completion of the card is not required in order to address the city council. If the optional sign-in card has been completed, it should be placed in the box provided at the podium. The City Council of Newport Beach welcomes and encourages community participation. Public comments are generally limited to 3 minutes per person to allow everyone to speak. Written comments are encouraged as well. The City Council has a discretion to extend or shorten the time limit on agenda or non-agenda items. As a courtesy, please turn cell phones off or set them in the silent mode.
All right, we'll now have city council announcements and new items council members would like to introduce for future agendas. And I'm going to merge it with oral reports from city council on committee activities. Mr. Avery.
I have none.
Thank you. Mr. Peotter.
I have none.
Thank you. Mrs. Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to highlight a few events that took place since our last council meeting, and I think others may comment on these as well. And real exciting to attend the opening of the Balboa Island Museum, and kudos to Shirley Peppers and her volunteers. And it's just a beautiful, wonderful, historical travel through the history of Balboa Island. So it's on Marine Avenue and right near Hershey's Market for anybody who has not yet been there. So congratulations to Balboa Island Museum. Also, Mayor Pro Tem and I attended the Sister Cities Holiday Breakfast last week, and thank you to the Sister Cities Committee. They've been working hard for over 3 decades to bring bicultural exchanges for our students in our high schools, junior high and high schools, and it's just a wonderful program, and I'm happy to be there to support them. And also, Mayor Pro Tem and Councilmember-elect Brenner and I had the honor of participating in this very chambers, but we sat over there with the YMCA Youth and Government legislative bill session, and the high school students from Newport Harbor and Sage, the representatives sat up here, and we sat over there while they were legislating in true parliamentary fashion. It was just an honor to participate with them and see these, our future leaders, frankly. They are committed to understanding our government process, our legislative process, and they volunteer. It's a wonderful program in our high schools, and I'm proud to participate. This was about the 4th year I've done that. It's really a lot of fun. And that's it. So thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Councilman Herdman.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I didn't get a chance to do this at the last council meeting, but I'd like to thank the council for the financial support of the new Balboa Island Museum, the $25,000 grant that was approved at our last council meeting for them. The museum is in my district. I used to serve on the museum board, so it's very near and dear to me. And please do come to the island and visit the new museum. It's absolutely outstanding. I also was at that legislative bill session. My granddaughter argued a bill. Did you know that? Yeah, I was there just briefly, just enough to hear her. But yeah, it was an impressive evening. The kids are great. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Muldoon.
Thank you. I would just like to take this moment to congratulate the fine men and women at Newport Beach Police Department. If you haven't heard, they apprehended a suspect who was robbing numerous homes. I've dubbed the suspect the Balboa Bandit. This particular individual was actually alleged to have robbed numerous homes and then placed those valuables belonging to others in a storage unit. So I'm very proud of our police department. I thank them for their great work.
All right, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill. That's a good thing to clap for.
It is a very good thing. We have a Finance Committee meeting coming up on Thursday at 3 o'clock. Please join us. And then in addition to what Ms. Dixon was talking about, I also was able to attend the Newport Beach Association of Realtors installation breakfast, where they had their new turnover of board members, which was fantastic, and then the Susan G. Komen annual breakfast, where they discussed all the fantastic initiatives they have coming up. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and I have none. All right, we'll go to public comments. Would anyone like to come up and speak on this issue, what we just spoke about? Please come up.
Just the
This is the
council
announcements that we just did? Sorry. Anyone else? All right, seeing none, Madam Clerk?
This is the time in which council members may pull items from the consent calendar for discussion. Those are items 1 through 10. Public comments are invited on consent calendar from members of the audience and from the City Council. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record. If any item is removed from the consent calendar by a council member, members of the public are invited to speak on each item for up to 3 minutes per item. All matters listed under consent calendar are considered to be routine, will all be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. Council members have received detailed staff reports on each of the items recommending an action. There will be no separate discussion of these items prior to the time the City Council votes on the motion unless members of the City Council request specific items to be discussed and are removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Thank you. That's a lot. Council, any items to pull from the consent calendar, 1 through 10? Mr. Avery?
I have none.
Thank you. Mr. Peotter?
I need to recuse on items 3 and 4 because I have not participated in all the public discussion.
All right. Mrs. Dixon?
I have none. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Herdman?
I have none.
Thank you. Mr. Muldoon? Thanks. Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill?
I have none.
And I have to recuse myself on item 3 and 4 due to business relations. Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill, do you have a motion?
I move the balance of the consent calendar with a recusal noted by Councilmember Peotter and Mayor Duffield on number 3 and 4.
I'll second the motion.
All right, thank you. And now we'll go to public comments on the consent calendar. Anyone wish to come up? Please come up.
Is this on? Yes.
For the consent calendar.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Jim Hawkins. I reside in the 500 block of Santa Ana Avenue in Newport Heights, and I'm here tonight to express my gratitude for the city's involvement in a safe and happy Halloween. Every year in my memory, Halloween celebration.
Sir,
Excuse me.
Sir, this is time to. Oh, good.
I'm sorry,
Mayor Duffield.
Sorry. On the consent calendar, the items we just talked about, 1 through 10, that we're discussing that.
Public comment.
We'll have that in a minute.
Am I in error?
It's just on. We're just taking comments on the consent calendar right now. You have an opportunity to speak in just a moment, sir.
Did I
It'll
miss
be
my
just a few
opportunity?
minutes. It'll be just a few moments.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry about that. All right. Any council comments? Oh, I'm sorry. Jim. What-
Mayor Duffield,
Sorry.
members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier, and I do have a comment on item 5, which is on your consent calendar. This, as you probably are aware, is the council policy L6 about the approval of encroachments into the public right-of-way. This item was on your consent calendar at the last meeting. There was some discussion about it. The policy has been improved. It now has a requirement in it that somebody requesting an encroachment into the public realm that needs discretionary approval by, in this case, it is the Planning Commission, has to post a notice so that the public knows that the hearing or meeting about it is coming up. That's a great improvement. However, in thinking about this a little more since your last meeting, it occurred to me that the Planning Commission really is not the correct body to be considering encroachments into our parkways. Our city charter makes it very clear that the body who has jurisdiction over parkways and concern about what the public right-of-way, the open space looks like, is our Parks, Beaches, and Recreation Commission. I therefore think that this policy, and probably all the policies, need to be reviewed by them. There are terms in here about what should be done about trees. Those are definitely the province of the PB&R. They have not reviewed any of these L policies. I think this was done in a little haste, having it done by the Planning Commission, who probably only sees themselves as being the decision-making body for most everything. And we're not aware of the other commission that we have. So I would recommend to you that this policy and the other policies be sent to Parks, Beach, and Recreation for their recommendation on what they think the policies should be, and then weigh the two recommendations before you make a decision. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, I'll bring it back. I don't see any speakers up here, so let's vote.
Prior to reading the vote, I'll read the ordinance titles for items 3 and 4. Ordinance number 2018-17, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, amending Newport Beach Municipal Code Titles 1 and 17 related to the Harbor Department, and ordinance number 2018-18, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Newport Beach, amending Newport Beach Municipal Code Title 17 pertaining to vessel speed limits. Arms aren't long enough there. The motion carries unanimously 7-0.
All right, thank you. Madam Clerk.
Moment, let me
Sorry.
get to the part of the agenda. There we go.
You're a busy girl tonight.
Public comments are invited on non-agenda items generally considered to be within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. Speakers must limit comments to 3 minutes. Before speaking, please state your name for the record.
Great, thank you. Welcome. Sorry.
I'm sorry I spoke out of turn. Again, my name's Jim Hawkins. I live in the 500 block of Santa Ana Avenue, and I'm here to express my gratitude of the city's involvement in the Halloween evening on Santa Ana. Every year in my memory, the event has been huge on Santa Ana between 15th Street and Cliff Drive. From sundown to 9 p.m., the street is packed with people from curb to curb, kids in costumes and with their parents. At our door, we hand out about 1,500 pieces of candy to the goblins, and they're all very polite and very grateful. For the last several years, I've worked with the traffic control department and the police department to manage the traffic off of Santa Ana to protect this group that's there in celebration. And again this year, the traffic department located electronic trailer signs at 15th Street and Cliff, and the police department stationed Explorer Scouts at 15th, Clay, Broad, and Cliff. Additionally, this year, the fire department parked a ladder truck, a fire engine, and an ambulance in the middle of Santa Ana Avenue for almost the entire evening to ensure that there was no automobile traffic and ensure a safe and successful evening. And a special thanks goes out to Heidi Moss of the Traffic Department for arranging the electronic signs, to Lieutenant Miner and to Lieutenant Cartwright for helping us with the explorers at the locations, at the corner locations. And last but not least, to Councilman Avery for his support. And I think he was probably responsible for bringing in the fire department. So it was a great evening. It was well done. And I really hope that we can continue this tradition on Santa Ana with bringing in the city to eliminate the automobile traffic and the potential hazards that those cause. Brad, thank you very much. Your admonition to me was patently ignored, but I appreciate your efforts and hope to see you again next year. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other public comments? Please come up.
Hello, Nancy Gardner. This has been a tough year. A lot of anger, a lot of accusations. And I think there would be nothing more unfortunate if, after all this, we all retired to our own little corners and nursed our grudges. So we have a new year coming. We have a new council member, and let's use this as a time to reset. I think a great first step is something that Councilman Muldoon wanted to do when he was mayor, and which I understand we are going to do, which is the update of the general plan. With broad outreach, we will agree on a vision of our city and how we want to deal with issues like traffic and development and hopefully sustainability. And that's a great first step. I would like to suggest as a second step for the council to get back to fully utilizing your commissions and committees. They have been bypassed on occasion, and that does us all a disservice. We can't do extensive outreach for every single issue, but these are the people you have appointed to bring you broader perspectives. And even if you don't take their recommendation, your decision is richer for the input they've given you. So I think both of those things will do a lot towards restoring bonds that have become somewhat frayed, and so that we can all work together instead of against each other in this coming year for our city. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Nancy Downs. I live in Orange County and I work full-time for Oceana. We're the world's largest international ocean conservation group. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. I'm a campaign manager for all of Orange County. I'm here to request the City of Newport Beach introduce a resolution opposing Executive Order 13783, which is the administration's proposal to revise the 5-year oil and gas lease plan that would propose to expand drilling throughout the Pacific Ocean. We are expecting the revised draft proposed program to come out probably in the next 3 or 4 weeks. I've reached out to the council a handful of times throughout the course of 2018 on this issue, and on Friday, November 30th, I dropped off a packet or folder of updated information for the council on this subject matter. Oceana has served as the lead organization working with local municipalities to pass similar resolutions. There's over 300 nationwide, and on the West Coast, over 80 municipalities have passed resolutions similar to what I'm requesting. This includes counties of San Diego, Los Angeles, Santa Barbara, to name a few. In the past year, I've worked directly with the city of Laguna Beach, Dana Point, Manhattan Beach, and on October 16th, you may be aware that Costa Mesa also passed a resolution opposing this executive order. I'm working with the city of El Segundo that's currently drafting a resolution, and just last night I gave similar public comment to the city of Seal Beach. We maintain a website where you can view the list of every city, county, elected official, wildlife agency, business alliances, fishing associations, with an actual copy of the signed resolution, if you need an example. I know that Newport Beach depends heavily on coastal tourism, restaurants, surfing, boating, fishing. I know that the city attracts, your restaurants and harbor attracts millions of visitors a year, making recreation a very important factor in your local economy. So I'm asking Newport to please consider the risk of new offshore drilling and what it poses to your coastal economy. Let's work together to protect Newport Beach's coastal culture and protect our coastline. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any other speakers?
Hello, Sandra Ayers. I've come up a few times, and each time I come up, I really try to acknowledge that all of us come to items with different perspectives. But when I saw that there was a request by the city of Newport Beach to increase the heights along the shoreline that was going to go to the Coastal Commission in the next couple days, I was really astounded, and I have a lot of questions. You know, where did this proposal originate? When was it voted on? Was it voted on by the city council? Is it something that the city council this idea represents the desires of their citizenry? Was it a unanimous vote, or how did the vote go? I really would like to know some of these details. I, for one, will be at the Coastal Commission tomorrow or in the next couple of days when this item comes up. I will let them know that I do not think this represents the desires of the city of Newport Beach. I will let them know that I do not think that this is a long-term good for our city or for our state to increase heights along the shorelines. But I will still pursue the answers, and maybe, you know, someone would like to give it to us tonight on how this proposal was initiated and where support supposedly is found for this idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a next speaker, please?
Mr. Mayor, since no one's stepping up, can I clarify some things? There is no height increase request to the Coastal Commission, and people are so sensitive about that. It's wrong to even imply or bring that up. What's going before the Coastal Commission is a variance process in our zoning that has been in place in our zoning for over 4 years, actually since 2010. And so it has not been part of a local coastal plan, and that's what's being done now, is they're going to amend that to include our variance procedure. Sometimes there are variances allowed for heights, not very regularly, but if you have a sloped site, how you measure that height is very difficult, and that's why you have a variance process. It's all spelled out. There's nothing new. We're not increasing the heights of all the buildings on the coastal plain. Am I saying that correctly, Mr. Campbell?
Yes, you are. What we're adding is some exceptions to the height limit that have been in effect and we've been implementing for over 46 years. And there's a flaw in the local coastal program. We're putting that back in there. Again, it's been on the books for 46 years, so we're fixing it.
So we're really sensitive to being accused of increasing heights, so I hope you'll apologize if I kind of came down hard. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other speakers? All right, seeing none. Our regular meeting starts in 8 minutes. And for those who are maybe on their way, I'm proposing a small recess till 7, so those who may want to watch these swear-ins won't miss it. Is that something we all agree to? All right. I will have a 8-minute recess. Take your seat, please. We'll proceed.
Got me doing two guys here. Am I doing Duffield and?
Yeah, you're doing
Spalding?
Duffy and.
We're missing one council member, so I'm going to try to hold out for 30 seconds. We're on baby hold, which is legitimate. It's legitimate baby hold. Councilman Muldoon's new son is trying to get here. Mom's making her way here fast. Be patient. Sorry for the delay and the confusion. All right, Madam Clerk, I'm going to go for this. All right, for the following presentations, is there a motion and a second to proceed, move forward with the presentations?
I so move.
I second.
Thank you. We'll now have public comments on the presentation. Seeing none, this is a new policy we have to go through, so.
All in
just
favor?
To confuse you more, let's vote. Aye.
Yeah, hands are fine.
Okay. All right.
Yep, 7-0.
I'm told that we have a presentation by Scott Carpenter on behalf of Senator John Moorlach to the outgoing Councilmember Scott Peotter. Would he please come up? Thank you.
Hello, Council and community. Again, Scott Carpenter with Senator Moorlach's office. Just wanted to come and give Councilman Peotter a small token of our appreciation for the service you have done to the city, and wish you very well in all your future endeavors. So on behalf of Senator Moorlach, we'd like to present you with this certificate of recognition.
All right. Thank you. Now we'll have a presentation by District Director Tim Whitacre on behalf of Board of Supervisor Michelle Steele to outgoing council member Scott Peotter. You should have stayed down there, right? Thanks for coming, Tim.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members, staff, and residents of the awesome city of Newport Beach. It's a pleasure to be here on behalf of your supervisor, Michelle Steele, who would like to be here herself. She's a little geographically undesirable. She's in Italy. Her youngest is getting married, and so this is what I do, as you know, when she's not here. I actually have two presentations. The first one is going to be to the Honorable Scott Peotter. And Mr. Peotter, if you would come down, sir. The supervisor thanks you for your service to this great city the last 4 years. Elections are always tough. What I can tell everybody out here in the audience is even though sometimes you have your likes up here and your dislikes, what I can assure you from this lady and all these gentlemen is each one of them care deeply about your city. And even though Mr. Peotter did not win re-election, he was steadfast in his support of advocating for things that were important to the city. We had many, many conversations. He was dedicated, as are everyone else up here in this dais, who worked very hard for you. And so the supervisor wants to thank you, Mr. Peotter, for your service to the city and recognize you with this certificate as a token of her appreciation of your service to our mutual constituents in the fine city of Newport Beach.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
One more, sir.
Oh, sorry.
It's your turn.
Oh, really?
Mr. Mayor, if you could come down. The supervisor wants to thank you for your leadership on the dais of this dynamic group as the mayor for 2018. And again, I can echo the same comments that I did for Councilman Peotter in that your mayor, Duffield, has been a staunch advocate, of course, of all things harbor and whatnot to better the city and help taking back the harbor for the city. And he has been proactive, and not just proactive, he's also been responsive when it's had to go both ways. I can tell you many times late at night, I could be sitting at home thinking I'm done and my phone rings. And if it wasn't him, and many times it would sometimes be these guys. But you did a great job, Mr. Mayor. The supervisor was very proud of you. And in token of your service to the residents as a mayor for this year, she wants to congratulate you with this certificate of recognition. Lastly, to the residents of Newport Beach, the supervisor wants to wish a very, very blessed Christmas. She hopes her Jewish constituents had a great, happy Hanukkah, and we hope you have a blessed New Year. We're looking forward to working with the new council moving forward. And Madam City Manager, welcome aboard as well, and looking forward to working with you as the year starts as well. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Tim, for coming and a busy night. Appreciate it. All right, next we have a presentation, another one, to Scott Peotter for his work, and from me, from all of us up here. I wanted to have a little speech for him, but at this point, this is a really nice gift. I actually won it. It's a beautiful clock, and very deserving. You can't see it, but it is really something. So thank you for all your service. And now I will. Yes, please. Thank you. All right. So I think Scott will be missed. He was an expert in development projects from his background in architecture. The new council will be lacking in this department, which is going to make it challenging. The first day Scott was sworn in, he got to work on putting the firewood back in the fire pits, lowering the harbor fees, and streamlining, where possible, the building department. He served on several committees, all of which benefited from his work. Not all his ideas and projects came to fruition, but you always knew what he was trying to accomplish: lower cost, less government, and reduced taxes. I was proud to serve alongside an individual who was not afraid to speak his mind about what was important to him and not what might make him more popular. We need more people like that in government. So thank you, Scott, so much for all you did and all you taught me. We will miss you. Thanks again. Okay. All right, we're now to the part of the certification of the general municipal.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, you skipped a step. You get the, you actually, as outgoing mayor, get the gavel, which I get to present to you
that's right.
as mayor pro tem.
Sorry.
So, yes. Would you, so did I skip a step? Maybe I did.
Yes.
Okay,
Well, no, first the gavel, plaque, and then Mr. Peotter.
for sure.
Remarks by
All right, sounds good.
Councilmember Peotter.
So I do have a few remarks to make as well in your outgoing moments as mayor. You know, to know Duffy is to know a slice of Newport Beach history. For over 5 decades, Marshall Duffield has stood up when called upon to represent their home in Newport Beach. In 1971, our mayor's father, Marshall Duffield, stood up with other community leaders to form the Freeway Fighters, a group dedicated to stopping a freeway down PCH with a gaudy interchange at Superior. They were ultimately successful despite a council majority of 5-2 that actually favored the freeway. 43 years later, his son Duffy ran for city council despite not needing the title or acclaim, already a success at building and selling the eponymous Duffy boats. And we certainly know that no one runs alone. He has had the support of his wife Terry these many years, raising their children, their grandchildren, and the business. We've been fortunate to have a person with Duffy's heart for others as mayor of our great city. Indeed, we're fortunate anytime we have a leader whose compassion for others far exceeds political aspirations. We learn from those who precede us, and I have enjoyed my time learning from Newport Beach from our outgoing mayor. Thank you, Duffy and Terry, for your service.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill. Those very nice words. Appreciate it. And so now we should go to the remarks by Mr. Peotter.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, today's special for the new city councilman being sworn in, so I'll keep my remarks brief. But I wanted to thank the voters of Newport Beach for the privilege of being able to serve as your councilman these last 4 years. They've been fun, they've been challenging, they've been interesting. Sometimes, or some parts are a little bit more fun than others. And when we got elected, we were clearly given a new direction by the voters, and sometimes change can be hard as we hit the ground running. All along, I could say that my faith in Jesus Christ and following biblical principles has driven my decisions, my conduct as a city councilman. Although I'm not perfect, I believe that I've acted honorably and as I've promised when I got elected. People knew what they were getting with me. I did not change my stripes after I got elected. Some of the accomplishments I'm really proud of are as Mr. Duffield already mentioned, putting wood back into the fire pits. You know, we actually had a beach tradition taken away by the city, and then we had to deal with the AQMD and the Coastal Commission, and again, trying to protect residents that weren't already impacted by the fire rings. So it was fun, it was challenging. We even had, I think they were purple unicorns flying around at one point. Another item that I'm really proud of is that, you know, we got elected and we made fun of Tajma City Hall and the amount of money that was spent here, but we took it serious. We went and audited. We found, you know, there was a lot of overspending, and our budget went from $50 million to $150 million, but we have a really nice facility. I think we found that the money was not misspent, it was just a lot of money spent. Did we get the best deal? Perhaps not. And as a result of that, not only did we have the Tajma City Hall, as I call it, but we had a $130 million debt. And I'm really proud of the fact that Measure T was passed this last November by 80% of the voters, because it'll, I think, prevent something like this from happening again in a vacuum where the voters are not involved. I think that had Measure T been in place when the Tajma City Hall debt was proposed, that the voters probably would have sent the council back to the drawing board and come up with a more economical building. And so I think that'll protect voters in the future. The harbor is another issue Mr. Duffield mentioned a lot. We've made a lot of progress on the harbor, but it's been neglected for several decades. And I think we've put it on with our harbor department and some of the other things, put it on a really good track to get things done. I'm sorry I won't be part of the decision-making on that, but I'm sure it's in great hands with Mayor Duffield. And I've enjoyed helping constituents in the various issues. I know people will sit there and stop me in the grocery store or wherever and ask about things and issues in the city. And, that's one thing that's different than being a congressman versus a city councilman. The congressman's back in D.C. The constituents really don't have a lot of interaction with them. I felt like I had a lot of interaction with a lot of constituents, and I'm happy to have done it, and it was a good experience. We got the CDM fire station library built. We've got the Lido fire station underway. Some good things as far as keeping this city on the track that, frankly, it's been on for several decades. We're blessed to live in a great city. And I believe the city is going to be in great hands with the new council. I gladly pass the baton on to Joy Brenner. I think she'll do a great job. Good luck and Godspeed, Joy. And thank you very much for being able and having the opportunity to serve with my fellow councilmen. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. All right, Madam Clerk, we might have skipped the certification. Would you like to take over with that?
That is item 11, certification of the general municipal election results. So the resolution confirms the results of the 2018 general municipal election as certified by the Orange County Registrar of Voters. And I'm proud to report that Newport Beach voter turnout was over 77%. Yes, good job. A couple of notes, however, the hard copy attachment initially presented on Friday inadvertently included extra pages starting with page 11-18. So the adopted resolution should end on page 11-17, but the online versions were correct. Also regarding written comments about the tally of votes, according to the Registrar of Voters Office, Precinct 53701 technically includes a portion of District 3, therefore shows up in the district breakdown for both 2 and 3. However, that precinct doesn't have any registered voters in it. So what appears to the precinct, which is, therefore, if you remove precinct 53701 from the results of the district breakdown for District 3, it gives a result that was certified by the Registrar of Voters. But that concludes my report. I welcome any questions. And then I just want to indicate that following the announcement of the vote, Councilmember Peotter is very welcome to join his family in the audience.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill.
So if I were to move staff recommendation, would I need to include any kind of modification, or is it enough to say move staff recommendation based on the version that was posted online?
It's enough to say move staff recommendation.
Okay, I move staff recommendation.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Let's vote.
Public comments, Mayor?
Before that, let's go to public comment. One more time for me. Anyone would like to speak on this item, please come up.
Mayor Duffield, members of the council, my name is Jim Mosier. I was going to comment on the missing pages and the inaccuracy of the report from District 3. The clerk has, to some extent, explained that, although the last words she said made it sound like this mysterious Precinct 53701 had no voters in it. It actually is a precinct with 1,727 voters in the heart of Newport Heights, and I don't think it overlaps from one district to another. So in elections, one always hopes that those who count the votes will do a careful and accurate job of doing that. In this case, I think the registrar maybe just stayed up too late on a Friday night and didn't get it all right. There were some missing pages, and the numbers are not quite right. That does not affect, I believe, the part that is being accepted as part of your resolution. I did want to comment on the voter turnout. The city clerk mentioned that the turnout was 77.1%, which is correct for the city as a whole. But if you look through any of these pages, you will see that there are precincts in Newport Beach that had much higher turnout than that, in the high 80s. And then there's some precincts that had low turnout. And I think it would be helpful and for the council to reflect on why there are districts with high turnout, very interested in our local politics, and others who just don't vote. And there's one that's notable, which is Precinct 53393. It has 1,000 voters in that precinct. Less than half of them bother to vote. That precinct happens to be what used to be called Oakwood and then Coronado. Currently, I think 880 Newport apartments. And I think the fault is probably not with the people who live there, but probably with us. And we should reflect on why those people are not engaged in our local politics. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good evening, Susan Skinner, and I'm walking in late from work, so you may have already addressed this, but really these comments are more for the people that are watching than for you guys, because you already know this. I just wanted to let the people that are watching and in the audience know today the update on the recount. There is a recount that has been requested in the race for Mayor Duffield and Tim Stokes. So in this election, there were 37,000 votes that were cast, and Mayor Duffield won by 36 votes. Nobody is alleging fraud, but this was a huge election. There were 471,000 votes that were calculated or counted after Election Day. And we believe that there's the opportunity or there's a possibility of human error. And so there is a recount that has been requested. It will be starting tomorrow. We should have the results, my guess is by the end of next week, and we will see what that shows. So that's just, and if anybody has any questions about it, they're welcome to email me at susanskinner949@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Any other speakers, please?
My name's Jim Warren, and I live across the street at 1201 Surfline Way. And I wanted to take a moment and talk about Scott Peotter. And I've lived in this area for 40 years, and he is the only city councilman that I've ever met that goes out and walks in his district and talks to the people. And it wasn't just one occasion that I ran into Scott out walking, but it was several occasions when I was walking the dog. And Scott and I always talked about things and had a friendly conversation. And I wish that we had more action by more city council members doing that. So whatever may be said or thought, Scott, thank you. I appreciated it. You are one of a kind in doing that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any others? All right, seeing none, we'll bring it back to a vote.
The motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
Okay, so I skipped, no, I was to speak, my final speech. So I have a 2-minute one. It'll be quick, but I apologize for saying that. All right, so I just want to say it was a great pleasure and a great honor serving you as mayor in 2018. You know, there's a strange sensation that happens when you become the mayor. Suddenly, you're not just a councilman, you're different in the eyes of the public. And since I did not attend mayor school, I had to learn on the fly. And by the end of my term as mayor, I figured it out, just in time for the last meeting. I think that happens to all first-time mayors, and just when you're dialed in, you're out. But I wanted to express my sincere thanks to our Mayor Pro Tem Will O'Neill for his attention to detail and all the sage advice he gave me. You were always there for me when I needed someone to take my place, and you never said no, and for that, Will, thank you so much. Also, to those at City Hall who behind the scenes helped the mayor through each week, thank you, Kim, Shirley, Leilani, Tara, Aaron, Carol, Grace, Mr. Kiff, Mr. Webb, Simone, Chip, Mr. Lewis, and Dan M., and everyone else at City Hall that made my life easier being the mayor. I really thank you for that. And I grew up in Newport, and as everybody knows, started and continue to operate my boat business in this city, and I just love this city. I've watched my little beach town of 20,000 people called Balboa turn into a thriving city named Newport Beach over the last 66 years. We all work hard to protect our precious beach city to keep its original roots. Most of us moved from the big city life to live at the beach, and we must do everything we can to keep it that way. I believe this is paramount. I never thought I would be on the council, let alone your mayor. It was something I'll keep with me forever. It is something I will keep with me forever, and I'm starting to really like the sound of Duffy Duffield, former mayor. I love this city. Thanks again. Now if I can find my place again. All right. Now is the time for reorganization. Madam Clerk?
This is the time for the administration of the oath of office to the newly elected and re-elected council members. I will be calling each council member individually and their families, along with a person who will be administrating the oath. First, can I have council member Diane Dixon and her family come forward, along with Superior Court Judge Steve Bromberg, to administer the oath to council member Dixon.
All right, Diane, you ready for this? Here you are again. You know, I could stand up here and talk for a very long time about your accomplishments, your courage as a council member, as a mayor, but the city has business to take care of tonight. So what I will say is, as your friend, I am so pleased to give you the oath of office this evening. Are we ready to do that? Okay. Have your husband and your sister here. This is wonderful, is it not? You raise your right hand. Oh, yes, raise your right hand. Thank you. Repeat after me, if you would, please. I, Diane Dixon, solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all crimes, all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States. True faith and the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation, purpose of evasion. I will and well and faithfully discharge the duties on which I am about to enter. Congratulations.
Jim.
Lovely words, thank you.
Up here. Next, can I have Mayor Marshall Duffy Duffield and his family come forward? And I'm honored to be the person administrating the oath for Mayor Duffield. Councilmember Duffield, if you'd raise your right hand, please. I, please state your name. Do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. Congratulations, sir. Now, can I have Councilmember Kevin Muldoon and his family come forward, along with Superior Court Judge John Adams, to administer the oath to Councilmember Muldoon.
Pleasure to be here to swear in. Kevin is a former deputy district attorney, and I had the pleasure of having him in my courtroom on many occasions, 10 or 12 when he was in my courtroom. Are you ready to take the oath at this time? I state your name. Kevin Muldoon. Solemnly affirm. Do solemnly affirm. Support and defend. United States. State of California. All enemies. Foreign and domestic. I will bear true faith and allegiance. Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. Obligation freely. of evasion. Well and faithfully. Discharge the duties. About to enter. Congratulations, Mr. Muldoon.
Can I get that? Right over here. One right here, please. Thank you. Kevin, one, no, please get him. Okay. 1, 2, got it. Wait.
Can I have Councilmember Joy Brenner and her family come forward, along with retired Judge Lynn Riddle, to administer the oath to Councilmember Brenner?
Could hardly be more honored than to administer your oath of office, Councilwoman Brenner. I admire you from afar, and now I intend to come and watch you frequently and admire you up close. Congratulations to all the family members. It's lovely to see a wonderful group and outdistanced and outperformed tonight. In any case, before we begin, I have a little gift for you, Ms. Brenner. Councilwoman, copy of the United States Constitution, because now you're an officer of governance. Follow that. Call me anytime you need some assistance with reading it. Again, I'm so honored. Are you prepared and ready to go forward? You will repeat after me. I, Joy Brenner, do solemnly affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and to the Constitution of the State of California, and that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties upon which I am about to enter. May I be the first?
Can we like start here? Okay, thank you. One. Hidden? Okay.
All right. Second more here. All right. Now the city council will consider the annual mayoral appointment, so I will now turn the gavel over to the city clerk to conduct the mayoral election.
This is the time for the election of the mayor. All members of the city council are on equal basis to nominate and elect. Note that 7 mayor and 7 mayor pro tem nameplates have been created for the reorganization process. The same procedure will also be followed for the selection of the mayor pro tem. Nominations do not require a second. They are not debatable, cannot be amended or reconsidered, and a majority vote is required to elect. The motion to close nominations does require a second. It is not debatable, cannot be amended or reconsidered, and requires a 2/3 vote. If there is more than one nomination, the voting will be done by paper ballot, and the results will be read at the conclusion of the balloting. If there is only one nomination, the voting will be done by oral vote. Nominations are now open. Do I hear any nominations? Councilmember O'Neill?
Thank you. I've given this one a lot of thought, and we do have an opportunity tonight for reconciliation, and we do have the opportunity to move forward in a unified way with a renewed sense of optimism. And going into the holidays, I think we can all reflect on the fact that every faith, certainly including mine, calls on us to seize those opportunities for reconciliation when they arise. And so it's not enough to simply say the words, and it's not enough to have the intent. You need to act, whether that's through olive branches or the extending of hands. And so I have to say, understanding the full symbolism of a mayor pro tem offering the nomination of someone other than himself to be the mayor, I nominate Diane Dixon to be mayor of Newport Beach in 2019. And I move to close nominations.
Is there a second to close?
There is a second.
All in favor to close nominations, you can raise your hand. That was 7-0. Is there anyone in the audience wishing to provide public comment? Do any council members wish to have any discussion on the nominees? Seeing none, congratulations, Councilmember Dixon. You are the new mayor for 2018-19.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you. This is the time for the City Council to conduct the election of the Mayor Pro Tem, and nominations are now open, and I nominate Will O'Neill. Are there any other nominations? Seeing no further nominations, is there a motion and a second to close nominations?
I so move.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to provide public comment? Seeing none. Do any city council members wish to have any discussion on the nominees? Seeing none. We'll
Just briefly,
Yes.
all in favor of closing nominations?
Oh, all in favor of
That was
closing nominations?
yes,
Okay.
that was unanimous 7-0, all closed. So congratulations to Councilmember O'Neill. You are Mayor Pro Tem again, nothing new. So 2018-19.
All right, now comes the fun part.
Oh, Mayor Dixon?
Yes.
Dixon, yes. We do have a newly elected Assembly Member, Cody Petrie-Norris, here, who would like to do a brief presentation. If
Absolutely.
that would be all right.
Welcome, Assemblywoman Norris, Petrie-Norris.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. Congratulations.
Thank
Good
you.
evening, council members. It is my honor and privilege to join you tonight to present a certificate of recognition from the California State Assembly to our newly elected council members from the city of Newport Beach. Thank you so much for everything you do for this city and for everything that you do for the state of California. I am honored and privileged to be able to serve alongside you, and I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you on the council. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I've got some certificates to give if everyone would like to come over here.
All of us?
I've got for the newly elected members. So I've got a certificate for Councilmember Brenner and Mayor Dixon.
Okay.
And Councilmember Duffield and Councilmember Muldoon.
As I started to say a moment ago, this is the fun part. Okay, it's our annual game of musical chairs. So the city council will seat themselves in the remaining seats, or all these seats. We do a little rearranging. Per City Council Policy A1, members of the City Council shall be seated at the City Council table with senior council members having the first choice of seats. When there is an equal seniority among members of the City Council, selection of City Council seats shall be made by the council member who received the highest margin of victory percentage in their most recent election. So I'll read in the order of seniority and priority and voter results. So Mr. Muldoon gets his first choice, followed by Mr. Duffield, Mr. Avery, Mr. Herdman, and Ms. Brenner. So everybody move. Good. You move one seat. And Brad's going to stay over there. Oh, thanks. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Okay. Now that everyone is comfortably seated, may I have the council members stand before the flag so we can take a group photo?
Okay. Okay, photo, please. Photo. Okay. One, two. Got it. Thank you. Excuse me.
Let me just make a quick announcement. We still have some business and a couple speeches. If you are interested in staying, we'd certainly love to have you. But if you are interested in leaving, please do, and we'll just take a minute. But we're going to proceed with the rest of our agenda. Okay. We will now hear some comments from our elected council members, beginning with Mr. Muldoon. Would you like to make some comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. First off, I'd like to thank Judge John Adams, who just left. I went with Judge John Adams because Alexander Hamilton was busy. He's a terrific friend, a great justice of the peace, a colleague to many people who showed up this evening, and I appreciate him making the time to come here. My largest thank this evening goes out to the voters of Newport Beach for entrusting me with another 4 years to serve them as District 4 representative. Special thanks goes to my wife, Heather, for her support of my campaign efforts, my son, Cannon, for allowing the occasional good night's rest, and the Lord. Merry Christmas.
Mr. Duffield, would you like to make any more comments? Or you've already made your comments. And Ms. Brenner, Councilmember Brenner, would you like to make some comments?
Good. Now I know how to turn on the microphone. Okay. I would just like to say how grateful and appreciative I am to everyone who participated in this election. My team was so vast that there's no way I can start off by giving any particular names, but I think you all know who you are and what you did to participate. And that was the thing I was most proud of in this election, was that there was so much individual participation by grassroots people in our community. And now that we have held the election, and I think we should need to be extremely proud of a 77% turnout. That's remarkable. And I think it shows how engaged our citizens really are and that they want to be part of the process. And two of my main campaign promises were, one, that I would listen to the people, that I would try to vote the will of the people in everything that I do on the council. And the second was that I will work with any and all members of this council and members of this community to do what's right for the citizens of Newport Beach. And I think that's critical, because I actually think that's what this election was about in so many different ways. People are tired of dysfunction and of disharmony, and they really want our representatives to represent each and every one of the people in our community. So I make that pledge to you now, and I am very pleased to be serving with all of these council members, and I look forward to representing you as well as I possibly can in the next 4 years. Thank you.
Thank you all. Now I have a few comments to make, and just to start fresh, good evening, Newport Beach, and welcome residents and our honored guests. It's just a pleasure to see and be with all of you this evening. First, let me thank you and express my deep gratitude to the people of Newport Beach who have reelected me to serve 4 more years as council member for District 1. I'm deeply honored by your support. And thank you to His Honor, Judge Bromberg. Thank you for being here and administering the oath of office. It's a great honor to be administered the oath by a former mayor, so as well as a judge. So thank you so much. I appreciate that, and I'm honored. And thank you to my colleagues on the dais for your confidence in me to serve again as mayor. And thank you especially to Mayor Pro Tem O'Neill for your continued leadership in serving our community and for nominating me to serve as mayor for the coming year. I appreciate the humility and wisdom of your actions. And I welcome Councilmember Brenner to the dais. We all look forward to serving with you, Ms. Brenner, and together all 7 of us will do our very best to serve our community and represent our residents and our neighborhoods with openness and transparency. Let me just step back and just say a few words about what a great privilege it is to serve this community, your community, and I look forward, echoing other comments tonight, to work together to advance the best interests of our city. And we all care deeply about preserving and protecting what it is that is indelibly defined as our paradise by the bay. We have all chosen to live in this beautiful city for a reason, and I intend to continue to work hard to ensure that the exceptional quality of life in our neighborhoods and our city meets and exceeds your expectations. I believe we could all agree on this. We are Newporters. We all love our city and our way of life, and there is much, much more that binds us than divides us. Briefly, we have a full policy plate ahead of us, important issues that have been identified, the pension general plan update, John Wayne Airport noise and air quality issues, and the startup of our new harbor department. We will be busy, especially every day in the next weeks ahead, and we have a lot of work to do together that is fundamental to maintaining the exceptional quality of life that is unique to Newport Beach. I want to thank our city staff and our new city manager for their continued dedication to our city's highest standards. We are fortunate to employ the exceptional caliber of professional managers who serve our residents with dedication and distinction. And thank you, residents, for caring passionately about our community. We listened to you, we've heard you, and we are now prepared to go forward and do what's best for the city we love. So let's begin. And may I take this opportunity to wish all of you a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays and a healthy and happy New Year. Now we continue back to the business at hand. There are a couple remaining items that we need to take care of prior to adjourning tonight. So moving to continue the consent calendar, we have a resolution for adoption, item number 17, to set the City Council regular meeting dates for calendar year 2019. Does anyone on the council dais require a staff report? No? Seeing none. Any council comments, questions? Seeing none. I will say that I'm glad that we will continue the new tradition of not having a council meeting Thanksgiving week. I think it's a lot easier on everybody. Any public comments on our proposed calendar for 2019? Seeing none, so bring it back here. Is there a motion to move?
So moved.
There's a motion and a second to adopt the city calendar, meeting calendar for calendar year 2019. Let's vote.
We could do the vote by hand since the names aren't changed.
Okay.
All in favor? The motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
All right, and the last item is item number 18, designation of the city's representatives under California Government Code section to designate the mayor and the mayor pro tem as the city's designated representative for purposes of labor negotiations. Does anyone on the council would like more information from staff? Seeing none. Any council questions? Seeing none. Any public comments? Seeing none. Do we have a motion?
I move staff recommendation.
Any second? We have a motion and a second.
I'm sorry, who seconded that? Thank you.
All right, let's vote.
All in favor? The motion carries unanimously, 7-0.
Madam Clerk.
Sorry about that. A motion to reconsider the vote on any action taken by the City Council at either this meeting or the previous meeting may be made only by one of the council members who voted with the prevailing side.
Any motions for reconsideration? Seeing none, I can say we are adjourned. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year. Thank you all.